North Carolina leaders are taking a major step in making health care more affordable for many people statewide. Leading state Senate Republicans are finalizing a bill to expand Medicaid access after years of opposition. The measure could be filed as soon as this week. If approved, it would expand Medicaid coverage to about 600,000 people with lower income.
Medicaid is a health insurance program for people who cannot afford regular medical care. Many people are limited to the access to Medicaid due to their unfortunate circumstances. The way things are going right now, 200,000 to 300,000 more people could be eligible for Medicaid by next summer.
Yeah, we have passed a couple of pieces of legislation that allow Georgians, to be part of the program, and it's been held up back and forth in the court. And I know the governor's office and their experts in the healthcare field feel like when those can go into practice, I think it's 200-300, maybe more people, 200,000 or 300,000, by the way, will have access to Medicaid and have that coverage and be able to get that type of insurance. But
however, there are some problems with Medicaid. About 255,000 Georgians make too little to get financial help to buy health insurance on healthcare.gov marketplace and do not currently qualify for Medicaid. These Georgians have incomes below the poverty line and fall into the coverage gap of no affordable insurance options.
Indigence, this category of medical indigence, was seen as a way to capture people that did not have incomes below the official poverty line. So say if a family of four in New York made an income of $6,000, if they made $6,001, they would not have qualified for the prior MMA, Kerr-Mills, or medical aid for the aged assistance. So what Medicaid did was expand a similar program for those who weren't below the poverty line.
Even though Medicaid is seen to expand people's healthcare coverage, it may be detrimental to hospital businesses. The hospital businesses receive no money with Medicaid patients. However, through the expansion of Medicaid, the quality of hospital income can be better. From the graph, you can see the harmful effect of Medicaid expansion on the profit of hospitals.
It's purely a financial negative because if a doctor sees only Medicaid patients, they can't stay in business. They can't pay their staff, they can't pay their rent, they can't pay their insurance, you go out of business. So that's why a lot of physicians don't take Medicaid.
I think we need to refocus the argument to addressing those issues. How can we ensure that doctors will be willing to accept Medicaid if it's expanded in the state of Georgia? Emergency management concern, that they increase the reimbursement amount of Medicaid. That's what I believe we as members of the General Assembly, especially the Democratic caucus, need to refocus our attention in that direction. But still, we can still have a conversation about expanding, but just to expand and don't address those issues, I think that's not productive at all, in my opinion.
As per Representative Patty Bentley, she agrees with the expansion of Medicaid, but also thinks that it should come with a better quality with people who work in the healthcare field. She thinks that the expansion should take place, but these key factors should not be left behind moving on.
Tom Scully is back with us. He's a former administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And Mr. Scully, we want to discuss the future of Medicaid in the week after the failure of a Republican ACA repeal and replacement bill that included some pretty major changes for Medicaid. In your opinion, as it stands today, is Medicaid sustainable or does it need some major changes?
Well, so how many hours do you have on that one? Medicaid's a great popular program. It's sustainable. It's not going to go anyplace. The issue is how much more is it going to expand and where and in what states. So the Medicaid program is very popular. It's obviously, I think you get over 25% of Americans in the Medicaid program. I think this year, at any particular point in the year, there were 98 million Americans in the Medicaid program, 77 if you pick one day of the year. So it's a huge program, and the issue is going to get a lot bigger or stay about the same size. And it's obviously very politically controversial. It's a huge piece of the healthcare infrastructure of every state. I listened to your opioid comments, the discussion recently. It's a big piece of that debate as well. So, it's a legitimate, massive policy debate. It's a gigantic piece of the budget debate. It's the second biggest, probably tied for the second biggest program in the federal government. It's a $600 billion a year program. It's massive. It's grown massively in the last 15 years. So,
In conclusion, Medicaid is seen as a pandemic, affecting people all around the world. The expansion of Medicaid can allow people to get better Medicaid treatment and get many citizens out of poverty. Medicaid has a bunch of problems with it, but expanding it through strategic ways, like Chuck Martin's proposed plans, can expand Medicaid and get many American citizens out of this healthcare slump.